Hello everyone, today we'll be covering Dark Elven teams. One of those races I really like. They're not incredibly powerful, but they're useful. They do their job. They have a lot of versatility, and well, you know, they just have that little something that makes them more interesting than other races. So as usual, I'll start by buying an apothecary. Rerolls will go with 2. Usually with elven teams, rerolls are a bit difficult to buy because of the price of the players themselves. So let's see what we have available. First of all, one thing that is really important to note is that Dark Elves are one of the few races who simply don't have access to a big guy. So of course, this has a lot of drawbacks. Still, you can look at it in a positive way, as they don't have any players who can just ignore your orders or just go stupid on you. Now, the first of the specialist positions that they have are the Witch Elves. Witch Elves, well, violent ladies who like to bathe in blood. Well, if it's that your sort of thing, go for it. Actually, as Blood Bowl players, they're pretty good. You know, they have very good movement with 7. Their strength is pretty nice at 3, and they have Elven agility, which is 4. Of course, well, as far as armor goes, they're not really durable. They do come with the skill Frenzy, just like werewolves, berserkers, troll slayers. This can be really useful, especially if you couple it with skills like block, tackle. Dauntless is also very good for those. Mighty Blow if you get a chance. Of course, some of those skills are not always available because they have access to the general table and agility table. And they all already come with the jump up skill. So in some cases, the Witch Elf might be used as a catcher, but preferably you'll try to build them up into an offensive player. And they do come with dodge as well, which is very good since they have 4 agility. So once you get them at least block and tackle, they already become really useful for your team. Because of their frenzy and their lack of block and tackle, they're a bit, well, slightly unreliable when you start out. Anyway, they do cost a lot of money. 110,000, so I'll buy just 1. Assassins are next. This is a very interesting class of players. Only the Dark Elves have access to them, and they do have similar stats to the Witch Elves, except that their movement is a little bit lower. However, they do have the shadowing skill. So basically, when you have an opponent in your tackle zone and they move away, either by blocking, blitzing, or just moving out of your tackle zone, you have a chance to roll the dice and follow them, basically taking the place that they were holding before moving. And that also means that you have a chance to tackle them as well. Sometimes it may be better not to move from the spot you were in, but usually it's a really useful skill. And they also have the stab skill, which is a skill that only this type of player has. Except there's, if I'm not mistaken, there's one Amazon star player who has it as well. Now, the stab skill. You use it instead of a block, and you basically you don't have to roll whether or not you succeed. All you have to do is do an armor roll. So if it works, they're already wounded, so they'll have to make an injury roll. Otherwise, well, it's as if nothing had happened. Imagine as if two players with block got a both down result. That's pretty much the same thing. Both players will stay in place, except that your assassins will have used up his action. But it can be really, really good. Sometimes when you don't want, for example, you don't want to break out of or into a box, or the cage if you prefer, well, you'll go after characters with low armor values. A very good example of that would be against the Norse teams. They have a lot of players with 7 armor. So then you would have a very good chance to injure that player. The only problem with that is that just like the Goblin special secret weapons, if you injure someone with the stab skill, you don't get any star player points. So you know it's circumstantial as far as as that skill goes. But they're still very good players. I really like that shadowing skill for agile teams. So 90,000, I'll get one. Runners. The difference between Dark Elves and Elven teams in general is that they don't really have designated catchers. And the runners for the Dark Elves are pretty much throwers, since they do come with the dump off skill. So if you get blocked, you have the opportunity to try and dump off the ball to one of your players who is nearby. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of that skill, but it can be useful still. And their other stats are the same as Witch Elves. So 7 movement, which is really good. Strength 3, very decent. For agility, which is very good. And armor class, that is low. Still, you buy one. Blitzers, now these are more interesting. They're pretty much a backbone of your team. Because, well, aside from the other stats, aside from armor value, should I say, they have the same stats as the Witch Elves and the Runners. But they do have 8 of armor, so they're a little bit more durable than the rest of their team. And they do come